कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी.
In the news tonight, Parliament passes bill for anti-corruption court. USP academics speak up. And Nawaikula suggests military should remove the government.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nana.
Bulavinaka, Fiji. A bill to set up an anti-corruption court was passed in Parliament today. Attorney General Sayed Kayum, while debating the bill, said there is no evidence that there will be interference in the judiciary as claimed by opposition MP Nico Nawaikula. Pranita Prakash reports.
Opposition MP Nico Nawaikula has accused the government of interfering with the judicial system, claiming this is an abuse by the government.
They are manipulating the judicial system for the very reason to keep them there, for a very reason to threaten, to intimidate. They have done that. FICAC and other constitutional established independent bodies are not independent.
It does not in any way mean that the judiciary is going to be interfered with. Absolutely not. Not a single shred of evidence.
NFP leader Professor Biman Prasad says there is no guarantee that there will be consistent judgments.
If we are not getting the courts to deal with corruption cases, expeditiously, efficiently, is to do with the efficiency of our court system.
However, Sayed Kayum maintains the anti-corruption division of court will ensure judges and magistrates become specialized in such matters.
They said it will have an enormous impact on the budget. No. It's a division created. We don't physically go and create a division that requires money. It's in law. Again, without any verification of facts.
The new division will be set up once the bill is signed off by the President and gazetted. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
The government says there are a number of governance issues within the University of the South Pacific, which happened under the leadership of Professor Pal Ahluwalia. This comes after a group of professors, associate professors and senior staff sent an open letter that Professor Ahluwalia was not the best choice for USP. Lina Rees has more.
Economy Minister and Fiji's representative to the USP Council, Sayed Kayum, says a simple independent investigation could solve governance issues within USP.
Yet the Council refused to do that. There was all sort of, sabotaging of this particular process. All we wanted was a clear and independent assessment of that. And we're quite happy to then, after the independent assessment, whatever the result came out, we'll continue with the grant.
A statement by 11 academics who wish to remain anonymous claimed that Professor Ahluwalia was responsible for the brain drain from the university, with some of the best minds and most respected academics leaving. Sayed Kayum stresses that government maintains its position on good governance.
What we are concerned about, obviously, is the actual good governance issues, and that is how you're going to run the university on a transparent basis. There are a lot of people, for example, who've been appointed without due process. Certain positions, obviously, that should have been advertised externally outside the university or only advertised internally.
The minister says these and other issues are before the USP Council, and whether the Council does anything about them is another matter. Lina Rees, FBC News.
And Lina Rees joins us live now. Lina, what other information do we have about the situation at USP?
Speaking in Parliament today, Minister for Education Rosie Akbar resounded similar sentiments shared by Sayed Kayum that good governance should be at the forefront of the running of operations of the regional institution. Akbar, who is also a Fiji representative on the USP Council, says that we are members of the USP Council and as such we cannot usurp the power of the Council, adding that 12 member countries make up the full USP Council and as such we cannot just make up the rules as to how the Council is to operate. Samoa's Prime Minister has also weighed in and made public his desire to move the USP headquarters to Samoa. However, Rosie Akbar clarified that this is the decision for the Council guided by the statutes of USP. Minister for Economy Sayed Kayum also clarified that the Council is deeply divided in the way moving forward. Sayed Kayum also touched on the deportation of Professor Ahluwalia, that should his permit be cancelled or no longer exist, then his contract automatically comes to an end. He adds that the council meeting on Friday, which lasted close to 5 hours, spoke on whether the ousted vice-chancellor's contract was still in place because Nauru wanted to amend this contract. ISI Kayum also says that there are some very unhealthy relationships between some people on the council and Professor Paul Aluwalia Edwin.
Nakalina, opposition MP Nico Nawaikula has today suggested in Parliament that the current Fiji First government needs to be removed, and there are two ways to get this done. However, he prefers the voting process. Nawaikula says the other way is by the military. Nawaikula's comments while debating on the Anti-Corruption Division Bill has copped a lot of criticism from the government side, while this has also not gone down well with a member of his own side. Ritika Pratap reports.
While debating on the Anti-Corruption Division Bill, the usual antics of Nico Nawaikula was at play again.
We cannot rely on our friends, on the UN to help us. The US will not help us. New Zealand will not help us. Australia will not help us. We have to rely on ourselves.
Nawaikula's rant about the use of military input did not go down well with one of his own.
Yeah, that should not have been said. And I think that is probably his own opinion. But I will not say such a thing.
Attorney General Ayase Kayum says it is unfortunate that despite the call of a supposed coup by Nawaikula, no member of opposition took offense with the comment. He labeled the comment as appalling.
It's quite appalling, isn't it? It's extremely appalling comments made by someone from a political party that pontificates, including the NFP, about military intervention, and here he is just standing up on a whim and making these comments. It's quite appalling, and obviously his leader needs to look at this issue, but it's obviously setting a very bad precedent.
Other government ministers also took a swipe at Nawaikula.
Absurd and ridiculous, especially when you're talking about trying to preserve democracy.
Everyone needs stability, and stability during the challenging times that the nation is facing. We all need to show responsibility and leadership. And I hope he goes back tonight, as I think about what he said, and comes back tomorrow a better person.
We were very shocked to hear a member of parliament, an honourable member of parliament, and a lawyer saying that we should have an illegal takeover of the government. Rather unfortunate, and I look forward to an apology from him.
Nawaikula has continuously made absurd comments against the government in parliamentary sittings. We have sought comments from other MPs on the matter. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
The Abolition of Assessors Bill has been passed in Parliament, meaning there will be no court assessors sitting in trials. Attorney General Ayase Kayum says there's been a clear decline in the advocacy for lay assessors, and people are simply not interested in the task. Apanisa Wangainandovu reports Fiji and Vanuatu are the only countries in the region using assessors.
The ayes have it.
The Attorney General says the use of assessors is an archaic provision and has become problematic.
In order to greater facilitate timely access to justice, it is imperative that a more streamlined process be developed. Cases are often delayed also sometimes to find suitable assessors within available time, slots for all the interested parties. These delays, of course, are not justifiable, and the final decision rests with the judge and not the assessors.
Said Kayum says claims by opposition that the lay assessor system serves the different ethnicities is a misleading stereotype.
In the modern day world, a person's guilt or innocence should not be determined by assessors who are going to look at the person on an ethnic basis.
Sudelpa MP Tanya Wanganika told Parliament that those who agree to scrap lay assessors will regret their choice in the future.
You will wish that they knew your side of the story, because your life, your livelihood, and your family stake is hanging on the balance of one judge.
Said Kayum says judges sometimes are not able to overturn the decision of lay assessors even when these decisions are uninformed. He says the societal view of lay assessors may often be in direct competition to the progressive views of modern laws. Apanisa Wangainandovu, FBC News.
And Apanisa is live now. Apanisa, what other challenges did the system of lay assessors provide in court trials.
Edwin, the Attorney General highlighted in Parliament that many of our assessors do not go through the legal training to become assessors. This is just one of the many reasons why the bill has been passed, and assessors will no longer give opinions in court trials. He said there are only a handful of assessors as people feel they are wasting their time because judges are making the final decision. He also told Parliament in the modern day a person's guilt or innocence is rather should not be determined by assessors who will look at the person's and ethnic basis. From the opposition side, NFP leader Professor Biman Prasad says the bill rather should have gone through the Parliamentary Standing Committee. Edwin, the bill was passed by acclamation. Edwin.
Vinaka Pinisa, and up ahead, $500 million damage from TC Yasa. And Ocean's policy to protect resources.
Baik tu dia jadi beratahu रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन
Welcome back. Permanent Secretary for Health, Dr. James Fong, has today confirmed to FBC News that Fiji has been offered AstraZeneca vaccines for the national COVID-19 vaccination program. Dr. Fong says Fiji is part of the COVAX initiative and will be taking delivery of the AstraZeneca vaccines for the first round of vaccination. He adds that the vaccine batches will come in small amounts and frontline workers will receive the first jabs.
We are getting access to AstraZeneca vaccine through the COVAX initiative. Fiji, like many of our other developing countries around the world, are beginning to get the initial batch that will cover at least 15% of the population.
Fiji's national ocean policy will be enshrined into law through the upcoming climate change bill. Speaking in Parliament, Minister for Economy Ayased Kayum said ocean health cannot be compromised as it's critical to the economy, Fijian livelihoods and culture. Kelly Vadala reports.
The policy aims to protect the ocean and its bountiful resources.
Given that 20% of the Fijian population lives within 1 kilometer of the coastline, and 76% within 5 kilometers, NOP recognizes the intrinsic connection Fijians have with the marine biosphere.
Opposition members argue the policy needs more work.
This would improve Fiji's government's vision and also to ensure that it ties into the Pacific region's push for sustainable blue economy.
We are all aware that a healthy ocean is integral to the lives and livelihoods of our people. But how healthy are our coral reefs, Mr. Speaker? How are we managing ocean pollution and overfishing domestically and internationally?
Syed Kayum says the ocean policy has a government structure in recognizing the complexities of our ocean sector.
The two flagship outcomes of NOP are to declare 30% of Fiji's exclusive economic zone as marine protected areas, with 100% sustainable management of our EEZ by 2030.
The Ministry of Economy began drafting the National Oceans Policy in 2019 and took over a year to complete. The policy aims to enhance security, cooperation and sustainability. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
139,000 people have been directly affected by Category 5 severe tropical cyclone Yasa. Minister for Disaster Management Inia Seruiratu told Parliament the damage assessment confirms 31,000 households suffered the brunt of the natural disaster. Kritika Kumar reports losses are estimated at around $500 million.
6,184 homes were partially damaged and 2,141 were destroyed across the 4 divisions.
In the Northern Division, we had a total of 1,862 fully destroyed and 5,837 partially damaged. In the Eastern Division, 277 fully destroyed with 310 partially damaged. And in the Western Division, 2 fully destroyed and 37 partially damaged.
Opposition MP Lenora Ngerengere Tambua has called on the government to provide a proper plan of how affected Fijians will be helped
Too often, unplanned disaster relief has meant too little, too late. Support being provided at the wrong times and in the wrong order.
Seruiratu highlighted that government has been committed to helping affected Fijians and distributed around 47,000 emergency food ration packs worth $4.1 million.
Where 31,000 was distributed to the Northern Division, 2,000 to the Western Division, and 13,000 to the Eastern Division.
The minister has also highlighted that the National Disaster Management Office is wrapping up the damage assessment post-TC Ana. 6,500 households have been assessed. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Some businesses remain open at Port Denarau in Nandi, despite borders being closed for almost a year now. Owners who are still operating aren't giving up, even as they forecast a tougher year ahead. Felipe Naikaso has more.
It has definitely become the survival of the fittest, but these businesses that remain in operation continue to be assisted amid the pandemic.
Right now, many of the businesses' houses or our tenants are paying somewhere around about 20 to 25% on their rent.
And the businesses that remain open are usually working on reduced hours, open only a few days in the week, starting later in the evening, or only operate on the weekends.
Probably larger companies or even, some of the radio stations and so forth could host some activities here at Port Denarau.
Now, the businesses that remain in operation have said that it will even get harder from this year. However, they'll do all they can to stay afloat.
Some of them have tried to come out with very innovative local market specials. They have reduced their prices, I know, as low as 60%.
Before you used to have 20 customers, but now it's get about 10 customers per day.
With uncertainty being a huge factor in how businesses operate now, the push to be dynamic and thinking outside the box is also critical. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
2 young Fijian girls will be sent to space camp in Alabama in the United States in efforts to develop young girls in science. Marking International Day of Women and Girls in Science, U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Tony Grubel says the 2 will be chosen from their STEAM program. Dipesh Kumar reports.
Space Camp is the newest program launched by the U.S. government, and 2 local girls will get the opportunity to develop their academic skills.
This day, when we celebrate women and girls in science, I am pleased to announce 2 opportunities for youths aged 15 to 18 in STEAM development programs.
The competition aims to provide a foundation for further education and possibly even careers in science and technology. Anjanish Nand, Mobile Oil Fiji Supply Coordinator, is part of the program to encourage more women in science.
STEAM today is still a male-dominated program, and we women today are still afraid of the change. While change is only constant in life, and we have to make that change.
The Space Camp competition is now open and applications will close on March 31st. It's open to girls between ages of 15 and 18. Dipesh Kumar, FBC News.
And Whitney is here now for tonight's business report.
Thanks, Edwin. Coming up in business tonight, Survivor Series to return to Fiji. And search on for organic products market. Stay with us.
कुमार साहब नायक है गोंगवा लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
The Survivor Series reality TV show is expected to begin shooting again soon. It's part of a number of film productions that have been approved by the Ministry of Trade and Commerce. Minister Fayaz Koya says due to the COVID-19 pandemic, film productions around the world were either postponed or cancelled. He says these productions are expected to generate close to $30 million in economic activity and create 400 local jobs.
Weeks of Survivor, we'll be filming in Fiji with the crew expecting to arrive in the next few days. So they have to stagger the way they actually come because most of the crew are from sitting in different parts of the world. But all done under the guidance of the Ministry of Health. So we follow the necessary protocols to protect our own citizens.
We now join Sinifa from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Good evening. Asian trade was thin today by the Lunar New Year holidays in Korea, Japan, and China. Against a basket of currencies, the US dollar stayed near two-week lows today. Softer than expected US inflation and another Federal Reserve promise to keep interest rates low reinforced expectations of insufficient returns from the reserve currency. US core inflation last month was 0 against market expectations of 0.2%. In a speech, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell focused on still high unemployment and reiterated that the central bank's new policy framework can accommodate annual inflation above 2% for some time before requiring higher rates. Later tonight, the European Commission economic forecasts are due, as are US labor market figures, with investors awaiting the data so they can gauge the relative progress of economic recovery. That's all for now from HFC Bank, Finaka.
Here today's exchange rates are set early this morning. The Fiji dollar was pegged high against our two major trading partners, the Aussie and Kiwi dollars, as well as the Chinese yuan, but it fell against the other currencies we cover. The commodities market was mixed. Oil prices rose a few cents to close at $58 per barrel. Gold fell to $1,837 per ounce, and silver closed up at $26.80 an ounce. Investment Fiji will prioritize connecting farmers with potential local and international markets over the next few months. Investment and Trade Manager Kamal Chetty says they're targeting those who specialize in organic products. Chetty adds they've been running various programs and seminars to find pathways for new exporters in different markets around the world.
One of the areas we're looking at, obviously we're trying to find markets to products that are already ready, but we're also focusing on products that are maybe not ready on the path of being exported later on. So what we do with them is we work with those exporters.
And that's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Thank you and good evening. Ahead in sports, some schools to miss out on Fiji finals. And Baber helps out local coaches. This and more after the break.
हमारे सामने नाइक है गोमवा लेबू लटो का रेडियो फीजी 2 में
Some maritime schools are expected to miss out on secondary schools athletics this year. There will be no Kandavu zone meet, while Mbua is still unsure of its participation. Fiji Secondary Schools Athletics Association President Vuli Wanga confirmed this following the release of the zone competition dates. Venina Rakautonga has more.
This will be one of the most emotional wins by a school from Kandavu. What a performance by Keseyam Boletakana.
It is unfortunate that athletes from Fiji's fourth largest island will not be competing at the Coca-Cola Games this year.
When I wanted to find out the zone date, I really don't know what happened with Kandavu, so they just told me that they will not be competing for the 2021 games.
Despite the disruption to the largest athletics meet last year, organizers are confident performance will not be affected.
The results is going to be very good. The funny thing was that even though there was a lockdown, some schools continued to train on their own.
Athletics Fiji Development Officer Antonio Rambui Luku says the recommencement of the games is a good sign of the return to normalcy.
It's a school rivalry, and it's fun for us to be looking into 2021 in a new dimension after we missed a lot of things in 2020. So it's something that we really look forward to.
The first secondary schools athletics zone meet will be held in 2 weeks. Suva Zone 2 will get things underway with Giants, Suva Grammar School, Maris Brothers High School and St. Joseph Secondary School battling it out on the 5th of next month. Venina Rakautonga, FBC Sports.
2019 Coca-Cola Games junior high jump gold medalist Viliame Tukindia is taking a leap of faith and determination, so to speak, in the upcoming secondary schools athletics competitions. Tukindia faces tough opposition in his first year in the intermediate division, but he's set his targets high and is adamant of working hard towards it. Caroline Itavi has more.
The 17-year-old hopes to defy all odds and break his personal best of 1.72 meter, setting a target of 1.80 meter come April.
I'll just try and compete with the other tall competitors. I'll try and have a positive thinking. Try and have a positive attitude towards the training.
Tukindia's older sister Cecilia was also a gold medalist in the intermediate girls high jump finals at the Cook Games in 2019.
She's in St. Joseph, currently in St. Joseph Form 7. She was the reason why I started high jump. I wanted to follow her.
EHS Principal Aquila Vute says they are taking one competition at a time, and first on the agenda is the Super Zone 2 competition.
Just taking one step at a time, not want to rush anything to the Coca-Cola Games. So today is just about identifying our potential athletes for Zone 2.
Murray's Brothers High School last won the Coca-Cola Games in 2016. This inter-house is an exciting journey for one of the most proficient schools to get back to winning ways. Caroline Itavi, FBC Sports.
Meanwhile, the Morris Brothers High School inter-house was cut short this afternoon due to unfavorable weather. Competition will conclude at the school grounds next week. Fiji Sevens coach Gareth Baber says the best part of learning is putting things into practice. Baber, together with World Rugby educators, are helping out local coaches in their World Rugby Sevens Level 2 course. These coaches are part of teams in the FRU Super 7 series. Baber says the more they learn, the better it'll be for the game in the country.
Guys having the opportunity to come in and discuss with each other and discuss with professional coaches and professional coach educators on the game itself, what World Rugby is looking at, but specifically what how we want to develop the game here in Fiji.
A clean sweep of all grades is the ultimate goal of Tailevu-based school Ratukandavu Levu. RKS holds the Fiji Secondary Schools Rugby League Under-15 trophy and is out to scoop the Under-17 and the main cup in the Under-19 grade. Tali Nawaikula with this report.
The team comes into the new season with a lot of confidence.
Our school principal helping us in things we're going to do in our rugby league, and we're trying to get good results in all three teams, 15, 17 and 19 for this year.
The players in all grades are clear on what is expected of them.
We respect all those the other teams. We have QBS, our brothers from downtown, and other schools in Suva. There are three teams in school. We are really confident, and we'll see when the competition comes.
But to win all grades, the boys from Delena Kaikai know they will have to do the groundwork. This means mastering the basic skills of the game, which will be the X factor in their performance.
We were blessed to have attended the workshop on level 1 coaching last week. We were able to grasp more knowledge on the basic skills of rugby, which is something that boys of RKS still need to work on.
RKS knows the mission will be tough with new teams joining the competition. Their clean sweep campaign begins next Saturday when the FSSRL Vodafone Trophy competition begins. Tali Nawaikula, FBC Sports.
The Western Touch Rugby Association has started preparations for the first franchise competition. 95 players, including a 14-year-old, have been selected to represent the Western franchise. Aquila Dama has the details.
Paying close attention, knowing they'll be doing something that's never been done before.
I feel really proud of myself. I didn't think I would be here. It's a really great privilege for us to actually be a part of something really big like this.
Touch rugby runs in the family for this youngster.
I wanted to be the best player, even though I'm the youngest. I want to try and beat those who are older than me, those who are more experienced. I want to try and accomplish something my grandfather did. In 2003, he coached the team that went to the South Pacific Games. I want to try and reach that standard too.
These players were selected a few months ago and had their orientation in Nandi.
So the franchise competition is designed in a way that it gives us another platform, another pathway from club level to a franchise level, then you go up to national levels.
The franchise competition will be held in March in Suva, Nandi, and the third is expected to be played at Pacific Harbour. Aquila Vama, FBC Sports.
The National Futsal League begins tomorrow. 6 district teams in the Southern Division will go head-to-head. VJFA Media Officer Abikas Chand says they are expecting a tough competition as teams will be looking to take down current champs Suva. Chand adds, interestingly, there will be some district reps that have switched to join the futsal side this weekend.
The 6 southern teams who are participating in this tournament, they will once again come back on the tap and show the skills on futsal after the successful season last year.
In play of the day, Everton reached the FA Cup quarter-finals after beating Tottenham Hotspur in a 9-goal classic this morning. Bernard Duarte firing home the winner in the 7th minute of extra time. That's it from Sports Tonight. Coming up in new media, Facebook to take down false vaccine claims. Details after the break.
कुमार साहब ने नायक है गोंगवा लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन
A low pressure area to the northwest is expected to bring rain, possibly heavy at times, to most of the Fiji group over the next day or so. Looking at the west, they had light showers this morning, followed by a cloudy, humid day. From Pacific Harbour to Suva, cloudy skies, showers and thunderstorms marked the day. In the north, more cloud, more rain and a warning of heavy rain. At sea, northerly winds at 15 to 20 knots, generating moderate to rough seas. Turning to the tides, the next low tide is at 12:55 a.m., followed by high tide at 7:09 a.m. Sunrise is at 5:57. The outlook for tomorrow calls for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Looking ahead to Saturday, rain, possibly heavy at times. And in Fijian Pulse, we are asking tonight, are we doing enough to educate Fijians about dengue fever?
I believe most Fijians in rural areas are not aware of this disease.
I want Ministry of Health to visit all the villages after the cyclone.
More awareness is needed on dengue fever.
There should be more awareness on dengue fever, especially after a disaster.
Recapping our main stories, Nico Nawaikula suggests government be removed by military, Fiji to get access to AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines, and 2 bills passed in Parliament. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we are asking, are the prolonged traffic delays justifiable? In order to have better roads, visit our FBC News website to answer. And on to our shot of the day, Kelera Magoon of Lautoka sent in this picture. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts, including Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. That's your news this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe. Modemanda.
कुमार साहब ने नायक है गोंगवा लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन